1, 2, 3. Nice. What's up, guys? Lewin here at GarageBand and Beyond with my good friend Jimmy Faber, and we're going to be doing another simple tips for guitar players. And the whole concept of this idea is for you guys to get the easiest things to learn that will go the farthest in your playing, right? So stuff that you will be able to use a lot, it will be easy to apply it, and it won't be very difficult to do. Now, Jimmy is another guitar player in the Philadelphia music scene. He plays with lots of different bands. Grizz and
the
Rent-A-Cops,
Chiton.
Yeah, lots of bands, and I'll put the links for the ones that I like.
They're all good.
They're all good.
I swear.
I'll put links for them below if you want to hear more of his playing. But anyway, Jimmy, what are you going to show us today?
Oh, today I thought I'd offer a couple simple tips on the art of string bending.
Awesome.
Which, and if you ask me, bending a string is just about the most soulful and expressive thing you can do on the guitar. And it also happens to be one of the trickiest.
For sure.
To get right. And one thing that I noticed that a lot of people have problems with is bending in tune.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody can push a string up and down, but one of the things that people have the hardest time getting is getting that note just in tune, so it really sings. So I'd like to offer just one simple exercise that I still do all the time to help improve my string bending and notation. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to find the note that we want to bend into, and in this case we're going to pick the B note at the 12th fret on the B string, because B string is probably one of the easier strings to bend. And we're going to play our note, and we're going to go down a whole step and bend up to that note. Hopefully with the original still ringing in our ears. We're using this original as kind of a reference point to bend into. And you want to try to get it as close to the note as possible, because bending in tune is what we're really after here. And it's also worth noting that we don't want to apply any vibrato at this point, because we're trying to get as accurate to the note as possible. Down the road, once you've got your accuracy down, we can apply things like vibrato to make it more expressive. But in the purpose for this exercise, we're just trying to get in tune as possible.
Right.
And we can also do this with half-step bends, too. So instead of going down a whole step, we're going to go down just a half-step and bend into our note. And I love these little half-step bends. They're some of the prettiest, most vocal things you can do on the guitar. And they're also really tricky to get in tune, so it's worth practicing this a lot. See, even there I was a little sharp, so I need to work on this exercise a little bit myself. But I would also recommend taking this across every string. Probably notice that the tension is a lot different on every string, so it's going to feel a little different depending on what string you're bending on. You really want to get an idea of the muscle memory burned into your brain, so that when doing this you can automatically get there. So this is a great exercise for training your ear and muscle memory in developing accurate bends. And the muscle memory really comes into play when we get into techniques such as pre-bends, where the note is already bent and we're coming down like. Which is one of my favorite things to do on guitar.
And one of those like classic guitar sounds too.
Oh yeah, I mean like Albert King, the great blues player, he was famous for stuff like.
Yeah. And Clapton too, you know, I think it's probably where Clapton got it from.
Probably, and Stevie Ray Vaughan, all the great blues guitar players were masters of this kind of bending style. And I don't think enough modern players have this in their arsenal. Everyone seems to be concerned with the alternate picking and the sweep picking, which is all great stuff, don't get me wrong, I love it. But this bending stuff really adds that singing quality, that emotional quality to guitar play that I think everybody should try to get a little bit of.
Yeah, cool. And so there was another thing too, right? Like a scale?
Sure.
Bending up the scale?
Now, once we've got the idea of playing in tune down, the next thing that people usually have a question with is, well, what notes do I bend?
Right.
And if you ask me, you can bend just about anything. And a great place to start is the major scale. So if we take our typical major scale pattern that hopefully we all know, we'll take a D major position scale, which sits perfectly over a D major chord if we were in the key of D. And instead of playing this normally, we're going to bend to each note in the scale. So starting on our D, we bend up to the A, then we go up to the E, and we're bending up to F sharp, then we'll go up to our F sharp, bending up to G, and so forth.
Right.
And you'll see any of these bends will work in the key of D major, as they're all part of the D major scale. Right. So if you could just play a D major chord maybe. Very cool.
That's very cool, yeah.
And one variation of this exercise that I highly recommend in doing it is instead of playing in one scale shape that goes across the strings, we want to go up and down the fretboard on one string, playing our same D major. So our D major scale on the G string would be.
Yeah.
And we're going to take the same concept and bend to each note in that. And of course, when always playing scales, you want to go up and down too.
Right. Nice.
And make note, like you might find some bends might not appeal to you, others will be like, oh, I'm going to incorporate that into my playing immediately.
Yeah.
And I like to take things like if you have, say, like a simple scale riff, like maybe try replacing that all with bends.
Right.
And then we're starting to get into pedal steel territory a little bit.
Are you more of like a second finger bender, third finger? Do you have a dominant finger?
I would say I generally bend with my third finger the most because that allows me to put the two additional fingers behind it to add a little bit of strength. But I would highly suggest that you do this and the previous exercise with every finger so that every finger can get just as strong, because you never know what situation you might be in, which finger you need to bend in.
Right.
In the intro, I did a bend that was like.
Right.
And I can't think of any other way I could do that. Instead of with bending with the first finger.
And
of course there I did the pre-bend.
Right. Now, we should add, though, this is predominantly for people playing the electric guitar. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to do this on the acoustic guitar because I'm just one guy, you know.
It will work on acoustic guitar on the higher strings.
Yeah, on the high strings, like the B string
and
the E
especially
string.
with those beautiful half-step bends, they sit amazingly well on the acoustic guitar. So don't let that dissuade you from trying these out.
On the high strings, for sure, yeah.
And it's also worth mentioning that depending on how your guitar is set up, it's going to feel differently. So you might spend a lot of time developing the muscle memory on one guitar, then you switch over, to your Strat that has gauge 13s and super high action. It's going to feel very different.
Yeah.
But in general, the muscle memory concept will always be there because there is a certain amount of force that'll get you to the note.
Right, right.
And doing that first exercise will really help develop that and your ear at the same time.
Nice.
So win-win.
Nice. Well, thanks, Jimmy. That was awesome.
Thank you guys for having me. It's been a pleasure.
I'm going to just say, if you guys have any questions, just leave them in the comments area below, and I'm going to ask Jimmy to keep an eye on that, and if you want to answer questions.
Absolutely.
And I'll be happy to answer any questions that I can about that. And definitely check out the links for his bands below.
Please
Grizz
go.
Band is definitely one of my favorites, and the Rent-A-Cops is great, and all the bands are great, but those are my personal favorites. Yeah.
Mine too.
They're all good, yeah. Yeah. Well, let's play them out.
All right,
you got
let's
a key?
do it.
What key
let's do something in G. Let's get bendy in G.
G, bendy in G. Okay. You guys have a great day. Don't forget to sign the mailing list as well. And I'll see you next week, all right? Have a good night. Good day, whatever it may be. All right.